Good afternoon. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday afternoon. Okay, so what we're going to be focusing on today is how to use your electric file to help you guys get this into shape as fast as you can. So when a nail is finished, the first thing I do is I'll take my hand file, right? And I'll take the edges off of the hand file so that I don't cut my client, right? And what we're going to do from here is we're going to begin by shaping, right, the perimeter of the nail first. Go ahead and make sure this is on so that it doesn't pop off during application. Okay, so what we want to be able to do is keep contact with the side of the file. So you're going to notice if I file both sides, and you can see that you can only see the blue side of the file, if I'm holding the file with great contact on the side, you're going to notice that I'm going to build a really straight shelf, right? All the way down, right? I don't wobble as I'm filing or keep the file in like this, right? So we want to be able to break this down into 5 points. For those of you guys that joined us, just make sure to smash that like button. Always before I remove the excess with my e-file, I'm going to use my hand file to get my sides straight. Going to straighten out the front, and then what we want to be able to do, I'll show you guys something. If you're looking at this from the side profile, all the excess that's hanging from here, I'll never take my file and just start hacking into the side. The biggest mistake that everyone does is they'll start filing into the side, and if you actually have a nail like this, the biggest problem is a lot of beginners end up filing what we call a notch into the corner right here. So you want to try to avoid the notch in the corner. The easiest way to be able to do this is by turning the customer's hand to the side. So if we turn the customer's hand to the side and I line the file here, right, at the lowest point, you're going to notice that if I file up into the side, I'm going to be able to build, look at this, an absolute flawless extension coming off the growth channel all the way to the front of the nail, okay? So I want to be able to do that on the opposite side as well. My hand is obviously falling apart here. This thing is beat up. Way overdue. New hand needed. Okay, so you're going to notice here, right, all that excess on the end. I don't line it into the side and file it in. I hold it at the lowest point, and I file up until my hand file reaches, look at this, until my hand file reaches so that I have a perfectly straight sidewall. So a good way of describing this, for those of you guys that joined us, make sure to smash that like button. If we were looking at this from the side profile, if this was the nail, okay, this was the nail, and we're looking at this from the side, and let's say from the end of the growth channel out, you have a little bit of acrylic, right? You're not going to start from here and try to file this way, right? You're not starting from the corner and trying to file in. Like a lot of people, what they do is they start from the corner and then they start filing up. If you turn the customer's hand to the side like this, and you line that file at the lowest point, watch this. If I continue to file, keeping contact, what will end up happening is I will reach that corner and I'll be able to build perfection coming off that growth channel to the very end. So remember, don't line it up and try to file in, or don't start this way and try to file in. Line it up parallel, right, to that growth channel. And then what you're going to do is keep contact with that. And then as you continue to file, it will reach that end. And that's how you're going to build perfection, okay? So, the easiest way, again, to be able to do that is by, again, lining it up at the lowest point and filing up. The easiest way to do that is by turning it to the side so that you can see, okay? Once the sides are shaped, then what we're going to do is we're going to use our electric file. Now, this is really important because for those of you guys that are learning to use your e-file, you can see that I've brought a little bit of space. So your electric file, it's not a drill, right? We're not going to be, again, working with this where the customer is going to feel anything. The customer shouldn't feel anything at all. I'm going to turn this up to about 10 or 12,000 RPMs. I'm not working at full speed. The electric file goes 25,000. There's no need to run it at that speed. What we need to do is we need to be able to reduce thickness from the surface of the nail so that it makes it easier for us to file. So again, if I position the electric file like it's resting, look at this, it's just resting in the crease of my hand, just like I'm writing, right? Look, right? If I'm writing, I'm like this. So I want to be able to be in that same position. If I'm holding it from the side with an overgrip position, I'm not going to hold it like this. Again, don't make the mistake of holding it like this, because then your hand, again, is very difficult for you to work without your hand getting in contact. Not only that, but there's a lot of pressure by holding it like this. For those of you guys that joined us, make sure to smash that like button. What I want to be able to do is if I have an overgrip position, again, I want to blanket the hand, put my thumb on the side. It's going to give me the opportunity to rest right here. So I don't need, look at this, right? I don't need to file that much here. All I'm reducing is a little bit of thickness. I have a lot of thickness through the center, and notice as I work through, I'm not doing this. I'm not going side to side. For those of you guys that get your nails done at the salon and you notice that the professional that's working on your nails is going side to side, if you go back and try to attempt the same thing, this is what happens, right? It ends up spinning around the surface. So to eliminate that problem, we need to try to file in one direction, right? So what I mean by that, let me make sure this doesn't come off, okay? What I mean by that is if this is the surface of the nail, okay, and I'm going to file, right? If I'm filing the upper arch, right, which is going to be where your apex is, right? We're trying to build that arch. I'm working in one direction through a center strip, right? I'm working in one direction. So I'm right-handed. I'm pulling this way. I'm not going side to side. I'm always thinking about pulling in one direction. If I'm going around the cuticle area to blend it, I'm thinking about going in one direction. If I'm going down this area to get this tight, I'm going in one direction. Okay, this is really important for those of you guys that are learning how to use your electric file, because you don't want it to get away from you. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to smash that like button. So again, let's fire this up. I have what I call, right, a pen grip. And then what you're going to notice, again, if I'm working around the cuticle area, look at this. I'm working with this part of the barrel. So I'm working with a safety bit. There's no edge. You can't cut. It's impossible. You can't, again. But can it create heat? Of course. Right? You can create heat with this. If you're using a hand file and you're filing like you're going to start a fire on the finger, of course you're going to feel something. But if you're working with the electric file and you're, again, look at this. I'm working. What direction am I going in? I'm going to show you guys. I want to be able to go in this. I'm trying to draw the arrow. I want to go in that direction. So I want to reduce the thickness around the cuticle area in one direction. So what that's going to do, it's going to make this tight, right? I don't need it flush. That's what my hand file is for, okay? I've got this dialed in, right? I got the upper arch dialed in so that we've got great shape all the way through. If I'm trying to work the C curve, right? And again, watch this, right? If I come in, you can see from underneath, I have a decent C curve, but you could see all that thickness through the barrel. I'm not going to go side to side. If I'm using my barrel and I'm going in one direction, look at this. I'm filing in one direction towards myself. Chances of me slipping are slim to none. So what we're going to do is we're going to be able to reduce the thickness from side to side. Look at that. I'm going to be able to get it even here, this whole section, right? So what we've done, have filed in the upper arch. We have filed around the cuticle area. We filed in the C-curve, the thickness of the tip. What is left? This area right here, right? This area right here, okay? So what I have essentially filed is the letter I, okay? This is this part. This is this part. This is this part, right? This represents the whole free edge. And what you're left with is your blending beads, right? Those blending areas represents the whole free edge. And what you're left with is your blending beads, right? Those blending areas. All I have to do is use my electric file and come in one direction and reduce the thickness on the sides, okay? So once we're done doing that, now the amount of hand filing that I actually have to do on this, right? It's going to be a lot easier for me to go around the cuticle area. The amount of time that I actually have to spend to go around the cuticle area and blend, that is it. Like, I'm going to be able to get that super, super tight without having, again, to sit there and file forever, right? If you're hand filing forever, it's going to wear and tear on your wrists. You're going to put a lot of wear and tear on your shoulders, your back. It's going to be, again, it's working against the grain. We don't want to work in a non-ergonomic way where you're dealing with pressure in your wrists and your hands and your shoulders on a daily basis. For those of you guys that are doing nails, you want to be able to use your tools correctly so that you're not, after the third client, burned out. Okay, so at this point, all I have to do is hold the hand file here. Watch this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it into two sides. I'm literally filing. I'm using the whole surface to file in one direction down this side. Look at the scratch lines. You're going to notice all my scratch lines run this way, right? Down one direction, right? A lot of beginners, when they start, they're trying to do, they're doing this. Like, you're not going to do anything by holding the hand file here and using this surface area. You need to use the whole surface area of the hand file, right? And in order to do that, if you held at the top and you have, again, filing in one direction down, it's very easy to be able to finish off this side. Now, this side here, if I held it at the bottom of the hand file like this, I have all this surface area. Don't pick at it, pressure into the nail. So you're going to notice I'm going to go up into the nail, into the nail, let it fall, into the nail. Now watch what happens once I start using a little bit of speed. For me, I know that I'm not going to slip because I'm going in and coming down, in, down, in, down, in, down. I'm allowing the hand file, and I'm allowing, right, my surface area to take advantage. The surface area of the file to take advantage as much as we can. I'm going to do a little bit of detailing around the edges, and then what we want to be able to do finally at this point is I always want to be able to look here, client profile. This is where you're going to be able to look down the barrel and make sure that everything is even. And then what I could do is make a peace sign, again, rest it in between my knuckle. And then from the back end, I'm looking here. I want to rest it on the surface. And then all I'm going to do is surf. I'm literally going in, like, literally, look at this, right? You can see how I'm actually able to shape from side to side by keeping contact all the way through the surface. And this is going to, again, allow you to finish off the nail in the least amount of effort, right? So this was the nail that we had built out yesterday. If there's some uneven areas, again, you're going to be able to use your hand file to make it absolutely perfect. In the end, you want to be able to work with something, but you can see that I'm trying to create this. I'm trying to create perfection here. I'm trying to make it even down the barrel of the nail. And what we're trying to do is shape out the nail, again, in the least amount of effort so that there's no pressure in your wrists while you're working, right? The most important assets are your hands, your body, your shoulders. right? For those of you guys out there that are learning how to file finish, if it is taking you, correct, if it is taking you 40 minutes, an hour to file finish, we have to revise your technique. You have to be able to, again, shape it so that it's straight. Use your electric file to remove bulk from the surface. And this sets you up for the opportunity to absolutely finish to perfection. And being able to do that, again, in 10 to 15 minutes is the goal, right? Imagine, right? All of you guys out there are learning how to do this, if you could get to that. Preparation, 5 minutes. Application, 20 to 30. File finishing, 10 to 15. You're in that hour, right? You're in the go zone. And that's what we want to be able to get you to. Appreciate you guys and your time. Remember, smash that like button. We'll see you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Peace.
Subscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel.